Welcome to day 6. I had a request for a tutorial. It was by Juliet Pomerantz from Facebook, and she wants to see a sunset. Now I asked her what kind of sunset. Beach, valley, mountain, desert, and she said she wanted to see a mountain sunset with clouds, with great clouds. So I'm going to be doing that, and I'm going to be using the same colors I used before. Black and white wolf along with the metallic blue wolf, and the rest of the colors I'm going to be using are I have red and brown and Paradise Makeup. Jenny approved, and you can see her new YouTube page at youtube.com/Jenny Makeup Artist, MUA, JINNYMUA. Okay, and let me get started on this. So I'm going to be doing the sunset, and I have a computer in front of me as a reference, and that's a great way if you're practicing stuff on yourself. Have the computer or have a picture in front of you and use it as a reference. And I'm looking at a lot of different colors here. I'm looking at, yellow, red, orange, pink, blue, light blue, white, all these different colors. And for the beginners, if you don't know, you always start off with a light color first and work your way into the darker colors. Because if you start off with the dark color and you put the light color on top, you notice how it blends together and it doesn't have that brightness on top. If you use Wolf, Diamond Effects, or Tag body paints, they actually are pretty good to go on top of some darker colors, and they do show up really good. But the basic rule is always go from light to dark. So I'm going to start off with the sky scene, and because it's at a perspective, I'm going to be doing the clouds going out like this with the mountains on the cheeks, probably some trees and stuff. We'll see what happens. No, this is not going to be a Bob Ross picture, but we're just going to have some fun with it. So let me get started again. And I say again because I got interrupted for the first take of this video. But here we go. I'm going to take some yellow first. I'm going to go in. I'm just going to stipple where I think the yellow is going to be. You don't have to make it perfect. The sky is not perfect. So, and this is where you're going to learn about using the back end of a sponge. And I use different sponges for different colors, so I keep the back of the sponge from being messed up. That way I can use it to blend with. And you'll see what I mean when I, use the colors. So I'm just going to sponge this in. And I'm going to take red now. You want to make sure that when you're doing this that your sponge is pretty wet. You don't want it to be dry. You want to make sure that the colors pop. So make sure your sponge is nice and moist with lots of color on it. Dry sponge doesn't work too well for this effect. So this is where the back end of a sponge works good, because then you can make sure that the colors blend in nice and good. Alright, I'm going to take a little bit of pink just to offset the color a little bit. Make sure you get the whole area. Now I'm going to be taking a blue color. Take a sky blue, light blue, like this. load it up with paint, make sure it's nice and moist. I'm going to go into where you see the clouds are just a little, you know, they're red on the bottom, they're blue up on the top. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to try and do this effect. And you want to do it right underneath the yellow, because that's going to be your lightest part. And you want to get your sky so you notice that there's clouds. I know it looks kind of weird right now, but bear with me. Take the back end and kind of stipple around it, kind of blend it in a little bit. You don't want it to be too prominent. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of my metallic blue. Too much is never good enough. Kind of give it dimension, depth. So okay, now I'm going to take this yellow again. Because I blended all the colors, I want to make some areas pop. So I'm going to go on top of the color, stippling, so that you see where the clouds really are. Make sure they're prominent. You don't want to blend these in because these are going to be the ones that pop out at you as the underside of the clouds. Alright, now I'm going to take my trusty big number 8 round brush. I'm going to go in with a little bit of brown. And I'm going to define where the mountains are going to be. So I want to come up, and you don't want to make it perfect. Okay? Do the same to the other side. Right now it kind of looks like a silhouette. That's fine. What I'm doing here is I'm just painting down so that I can take another sponge with brown on it and just sponge down the rest of the face. If you notice, I'm just using what's on the brush or the sponge. I'm not dipping it back into the paint. I don't want to because I'm going to be putting color on top of this. So take a white sponge and we're going to give texture to the mountains using just the edge of it. So wherever you think the light is, which the light should be coming from the middle area and stuff, as it's coming out because it's going down. So we're going to do just the inside parts to make it look like a mountain. Okay, so I'm going to take Get a little bit more white if you need to, because this is the tricky part. You got to make sure that you show them where the highlights are in the mountain by making it the brighter focal point. So don't worry, it doesn't have to look too perfect. Alright, I'm going to be taking, I need another sponge. I'm going to be taking just a little black. And doing the back side of the mountain. Anywhere where there's a shadow, to mark out where the mountain is. Okay. Pull my hair back a little bit. Yeah, I know I look a little funny right now. Now I'm going to go back and take some green I'm going to do a little bit of green foliage to this. You know, you can't have mountains without having some green in it. So, of course, get it nice and wet and stipple in some color. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. Now, this is good if you take a little bit of brown with it. And you stipple in some brown on top of the green. Now, one thing I am going to do is I'm going to just take a little bit of water here. I'm going to wipe off my chin. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little water area. So I'm going to take my little sponge, get some light blue, and this will be a little lake here. I'm going to take my dark blue, or my metallic blue. I'm going to go just around the edges. This will give it depth, dimension. Back side of the sponge, blend it in. Okay. This is where I'm going to use a small brush, not a large one. And like I said, my hands shake, so being able to do this is pretty miraculous, I guess. I'm going to take a little bit of black and mix it in with a little bit of that metallic blue, just to darken it up. I'm going to just sketch in some lines. This is just to make the water look a little choppy. You don't want it to be perfect. Alright. I'm also going to take this small brush, I'm going to grab up some black, and I'm going to define the mountains just a little bit more using small lines. So make sure you don't have a lot of water on your brush. But I mean, you want to make sure that you define your mountains This is the great thing about using Wolf Black. You don't have to go into the paint as much when you use theirs. You can easily define areas without having to redip. So there you go. You got kind of a sunset background, you got the mountains, you got the water. Now I'm going to take my fat brush again. I like it because I'm able to pick up more, I'm able to do, because of the way the tip is, I can do really fine details but also do some really thick details at the same time. So depending on how I use my brush, great brush to use. Now I'm going to go in, I'm going to pick up some brown. I'm going to do a few lines where it shows where there's some trees. I know you can't see this very well, but you'll get the point when I actually start to put the details on the plants. I'm gonna just get out of frame for a second. I have a nice brush case. I'm gonna pick up a nice flat brush, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of black, I'm going to mix it with my green, so I get a nice forest green out of it. And once I have that, then I'm going to create some pines. Make sure your brush is nice and wet for this, because this is going to take a while if you don't. So do a little twist action to get around the areas. I'll show you how to add highlights to it so it'll pop out really good. Doing a couple over the actual water. Now, use a little bit of white, mix it in with a little bit of the green, not a lot, just enough to lighten it up, keeping your brush nice and wet. And again, do the same thing with the highlighting. Doesn't have to look perfect. Okay, So you have yourself a nice little mountain ridge, sunset. I'm going to take a little bit of the white. I'm going to go back up into the clouds, and I'm just going to go right on top of the yellow a little bit to bring out the highlights a little bit more. Be careful, because you don't want to push hard, or else you get a big old white splotch. Now the great thing with this is it does kind of blend in to the colors a little bit if you do it just right. If not, other backside, kind of stipple it in. Okay, so there you go. You have a sunset mountain scene. More of a fine art project than an actual face painting, but you tell me what you think. Okay? So I want you to rate and comment on this. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Over in this side right here, I'm going to be putting links to my past 5 videos, and you can take a look at those if you haven't already. Alright, up here I have the subscribe button. Click that if you haven't already. Comment down below. If you'd like to see some more tutorials, just comment down below. Let me know what you want to see, and I'll see about doing it. Like I said, I'm still looking for sponsors. I have one on the way, who is Diamond FX, and I'm going to be testing out their products, just like I said in the last video. And what else can I say? Have fun, practice, do whatever you want to do, make it as elaborate as you want. It doesn't have to look perfect. I know if you want to make it look perfect, you're going to. I'm OCD when it comes to details. This is not my finest work, but I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it's what you wanted, Juliet. Other than that, see you later. Have fun. Bye.